12 most terrifying archaeological discoveries of all time that even top scientists were amazed by. Hello, and welcome to the Ancient History channel, where we explore the mysteries of the past together, stories that history has not only recorded in words, but has also hidden within them chilling and almost unbelievable elements. Today, we are about to embark on a very special journey to uncover the 12 most iconic archaeological discoveries of all time. Discoveries so disturbing that even horror filmmakers would admit defeat. You see, sometimes artifacts, tombs, or abandoned ancient cities tell stories that feel as though they belong only in movies. Some of these findings have even forced archaeologists to question beliefs, religions, and, at times, the very nature of ancient humanity itself. And today, I will guide you through each discovery in detail, from caves filled with mysterious paintings to mummies that still bear eerie, otherworldly traces, so that together we can experience the strange intersection between history and genuine fear. Are you ready? If you are, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and join me as we begin our journey into the world of archaeological discoveries that send chills down your spine, yet remain impossible to look away from. Starting right now. 56 children's remains in a cemetery reveal one of the most terrifying sacrificial rituals of the Chimu civilization. Did you know that the ancient world is both mysterious and fascinating? Some archaeological discoveries not only send chills down our spines because of their brutality, but also force us to stop and reflect on the beliefs and fears of people in the past. The child sacrifice cemetery of the Chimu civilization, lying quietly along the coast of Peru, is one such haunting story. Why is that? Because archaeologists uncovered a very unusual burial site here. The final resting place of 56 children between the ages of 11 and 14, along with the remains of 30 young llamas. All of these remains have been dated to approximately 1200 to 1400 AD, meaning they are about 600 years old. What truly unsettles researchers is not the number of bodies, but the purpose behind these deaths. These were not accidents nor the result of disease. Instead, they were the outcome of deliberate sacrificial rituals carried out to plead with the gods to end a series of devastating natural disasters caused by the El Niño phenomenon. Imagine the scene at that time. Torrential rains pounding the coastal region, floods washing away crops, saltwater ruining farmland, and the entire community pushed to the brink of collapse. Faced with the overwhelming power of nature that they could not control, the Chimu people believed that only the greatest possible sacrifice could calm the anger of the gods. And terrifyingly, that sacrifice was their own children. This site belongs to the Chimu civilization, a powerful pre-Inca culture that once flourished but later declined. It is located in the Huanchaco district, near the coastal city of Trujillo in northeastern Peru. Professor John Verano, an anthropologist from Tulane University and a member of the research team, stated that there is substantial evidence showing this was not an ordinary children's cemetery. Marks on the bones, burial methods, and the broader archaeological context all clearly point to a deliberate sacrificial ritual. What makes this story even heavier is the fact that families from different social classes voluntarily offered their children. The children were simply wrapped in cloth, with no grave goods and no farewell rituals. This reflects a deeply hierarchical society in which religious belief could outweigh even blood ties. To them, this was the price that had to be paid for the survival of the entire community. And the discoveries did not stop there. In April, scientists uncovered an additional 140 children's bodies and 200 more young llamas, located just a few miles from this site. These growing numbers inevitably raise a disturbing question. How many small lives were buried solely out of fear of nature? In fact, child sacrifice was not uncommon in ancient Peru. This practice existed across multiple civilizations, including the famous Inca Empire. As for the Chimu, they developed as descendants of the Moche culture along Peru's coast beginning in the first half of the 14th century. At one point, the Chimu Empire was the largest power in the region before it was conquered by the Incas. The Chimu people lived in a vast desert strip stretching roughly 19 to 100 miles wide, wedged between the Pacific Ocean and the Andes Mountains. To survive, they built massive irrigation systems, developed agriculture, and established large cities. It was a complex, highly organized civilization, but also one deeply haunted by spiritual beliefs. Now, as these small skeletons are brought into the light, they tell more than just a story of a brutal ritual. They remind us of the price humans were once willing to pay in their struggle against nature. In your opinion, in such a desperate situation, did ancient people really have any other choice? I believe they probably did not. That is why they felt forced to do this. Just thinking about it already makes you feel how heartbreaking it truly was. Prehistoric human bones in a 5,000-year-old tomb in Scotland. Amid the windswept fields of the Orkney Islands, where sea and stone have intertwined for thousands of years, the earth itself has begun to tell a story, one that compels us to slow down and listen. This is not a legend or a rumor, but an ancient stone tomb that lay silently undisturbed for 5,000 years, until it was awakened in the summer of 2023. And what awaited archaeologists beneath the cold layers of soil was not merely bones, but traces of a prehistoric family, evidence of human bonds that transcended time. The excavation took place in Holme, East Mainland, in the Orkney Islands of northeastern Scotland. Here, archaeologists uncovered a stone burial chamber dating back roughly 5,000 years BCE, belonging to the Neolithic period. The structure immediately astonished researchers due to its remarkable scale and sophisticated construction techniques. The tomb measures approximately 49 feet in diameter, reinforced by carefully stacked stone walls so solid that they remain clearly visible after millennia. This is considered an architectural feat, reflecting a level of planning and craftsmanship far beyond what was once imagined for prehistoric people in northern Britain. Deeper inside the chamber, the research team discovered a total of 14 human skeletons, including men, women, and children. Yet the most emotionally striking sight was that of two adult skeletons lying closely together, positioned as if embracing, with the remains of two children placed above their heads. It is a silent scene, devoid of words, yet it speaks volumes about family bonds, about how people of that era confronted death, and perhaps even about their beliefs in an afterlife. Consider this for a moment. In an age marked by scarcity and hardship, what led them to choose such a burial arrangement? Few people know that the story of this tomb actually began more than a century ago. In 1896, an old newspaper recorded that the son of a farmer in Orkney had accidentally discovered signs of an ancient burial monument on farmland in Holme. Over time, however, this information faded into obscurity. It was not until 2020 that Hugo Anderson Weimark, a senior specialist in early prehistory at the National Museum of Scotland, happened upon the article while reviewing archival documents. Guided by professional intuition, he believed there was more beneath the ground than history had yet revealed, and he decided to return to the site with colleagues. After extensive surveys, the official excavation began in the summer of 2023, opening a new chapter in Orkney archaeology. Although much of the tomb had been damaged in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, when local residents removed stones for farm construction, archaeologists were still fortunate to recover skeletons that were remarkably well preserved. This is extremely rare, as even in well-maintained ancient tombs, human remains are often disturbed or degraded over time. Vicky Cummings, co-director of the excavation, emphasized that this extraordinary level of preservation offers an invaluable opportunity to study the daily life, spiritual beliefs, and social structure of prehistoric people in Scotland. To date, only 12 other similar tombs have been identified in the Orkney Islands. This type of burial structure is known as a maze house-style passage grave. However, those 12 tombs are located above ground and differ significantly from this nearly intact 5,000-year-old tomb, which remained largely buried and undisturbed beneath the earth. Despite lingering evidence of past stone removal and looting, these new discoveries promise to help scientists gradually unravel the mysteries of Neolithic culture and religion. And perhaps, through these silent skeletons, we may come to better understand ourselves today. If so, wouldn't that be fascinating? 125-million-year-old fossil preserves skin and fur of a prehistoric mouse. Imagine this, a tiny creature that lived alongside the dinosaurs, died 125 million years ago, and yet today we can still see its skin, fur, and even traces of disease. How extraordinary would that story be? Of course, this is not science fiction, nor a legend. It is a real discovery that shook the modern scientific world, originating from what once seemed like an ordinary mine in Spain. Rewinding to 2011, at the Las Hoyas quarry near the city of Cuenca, a team of fossil hunters from Madrid University uncovered the skeleton of an ancient mammal called Spinolestes xenarthrosis. At first glance, it was no bigger than a common mouse, but the scientific value of this find was anything but small. The fossil was preserved almost perfectly, astonishing scientists when they realized it retained not only the bones, but also soft tissues such as ears, lungs, liver, and especially a coat of fur covering its body. In paleontology, finding fossilized soft tissue is extremely rare. Usually, only bones and teeth survive millions of years. That is why Spinolestes immediately became one of the most important discoveries. It allowed scientists to see the true appearance of Mesozoic mammals, rather than just guessing from dry bones. The deeper scientists studied it, the more surprising details emerged. First, the fossilized skin showed signs of fungal infection, indicating that this tiny creature suffered health problems before it died. This may sound simple, but it is invaluable evidence that skin diseases existed very early in mammalian evolution. Have you ever imagined that a mouse living alongside dinosaurs could get illnesses similar to modern animals? I didn't think so at first, but this discovery proves it. Spinolestes also had a formidable defense system. Along its lower back, researchers found rigid spines, likely a natural weapon to fend off predators. In the dangerous world of its time, Spinolestes faced creatures like Pelecanimmus, a 1-meter-long ostrich-like animal with sharp teeth. These spines could detach when attacked and pierce a predator's mouth, giving the mammal a chance to escape. In addition to the spines, Spinolestes had small scales on its back, similar to the primitive armor of modern armadillos. This reveals the incredible adaptability of early mammals, which developed protective layers to survive in a dinosaur-dominated world. According to Professor Thomas Martin, who studied the fossil, the reason Spinolestes was so well preserved is due to a bacterial layer that formed just hours after its death. This biological membrane encased the entire body like a natural armor, slowing decomposition of the soft tissues long enough for fossilization to occur. Spinolestes belong to the triconodont mammals, measuring about 9.5 inches long and weighing around 2.5 ounces, primarily feeding on insects. Despite its small size, it became the first evidence that soft tissues in Mesozoic mammals could be preserved. It is fascinating that from a tiny creature, Spinolestes tells a vivid story of life 125 million years ago, when dinosaurs ruled the world, yet small mammals quietly existed and evolved alongside them. Don't you think that is incredible? Rare fully intact treasure, found in a 2,600-year-old tomb in Italy. Have you ever wondered what stories might lie inside a tomb that has remained untouched by human hands for more than 2 millennia? If not, let me take you to Italy, where, in a land that was once the cradle of many brilliant civilizations, archaeologists accidentally opened such a time capsule. It is an Etruscan tomb dated to around 2,600 years ago, so well preserved that it stunned the scientific community. During excavation, experts discovered that the tomb was carved directly from stone, modeled to resemble a small house. This detail alone reveals how the ancient Etruscans viewed the afterlife as a continuation of earthly life. Inside, the scene resembled an ancient bedroom, with 4 skeletons neatly laid on stone beds, silently telling their story after thousands of years buried underground. Of course, what makes this tomb extraordinary is not only its architecture, but also the sheer number of artifacts found within. Experts uncovered over 100 artifacts surrounding the skeletons, ranging from finely crafted pottery, weapons, and bronze jewelry to small but valuable silver hair accessories. Each item acts as a piece of a puzzle, helping to reconstruct the daily life, social status, and spiritual beliefs of the people buried there. Looking at these objects, one can sense the prosperity and reverence the living held for the dead. Preliminary research indicates that the 4 individuals buried here were 2 men and 2 women. They may have been a family or closely connected members of the Etruscan community. Scientists are continuing to analyze the skeletons to learn how they lived, their health, and even the possible causes of death. These findings promise to provide a more vivid understanding of Etruscan life over 2 millennia ago. The most astonishing aspect is that this tomb has never been looted. Many other Etruscan tombs in the region suffered varying degrees of plundering over the centuries. That a tomb from the 7th century BCE remains nearly perfectly intact is considered extremely rare in archaeology. Archaeologist Davide Zori of Baylor University even emphasized that a completely sealed tomb like this is an invaluable discovery for studying Etruscan civilization. To fully appreciate the significance of this find, we must consider the historical context. The Etruscan civilization once flourished in central Italy, reaching its peak around the 6th century BCE before the rise of the Roman Republic. Through numerous wars, the Romans gradually conquered and eventually assimilated the Etruscans into their empire by the 1st century BCE. Today, every surviving Etruscan site is like an ancient book, helping us better understand the civilization that laid the foundations for the mighty Roman Empire. With enough patience and a passion for discovery, modern humans can still listen to the whispers of time echoing from deep underground. So, which of the more than 100 artifacts do you think will reveal the most about the Etruscans? And could upcoming studies change the way we understand this once glorious civilization, long overshadowed by history? Personally, I am eagerly anticipating what archaeologists will reveal about this remarkable culture in the near future. The 5,000-year-old white stone tomb and observatory on the Lover's Rock. You've probably heard of ancient wonders like the pyramids of Giza or Stonehenge, mysterious structures filled with unanswered questions. But have you ever heard of La Peña de los Enamorados, the Lover's Rock in Spain? If not, here's a glimpse. It's a massive rock formation reaching 2,900 feet high, hidden in the sun-drenched, windy lands of Andalusia, about 285 miles southwest of Madrid. What makes it extraordinary is that, from a distance, the rock resembles a giant sleeping figure, creating a scene both poetic and mystical, as if a fairy tale had been frozen in stone amidst the breathtaking natural landscape. Yet the impressive sleeping giant is only the tip of the iceberg. Deep within its chest lies a secret buried for thousands of years, an ancient tomb locals call the White Stone Tomb. Once merely a historical landmark and a stop for archaeology enthusiasts, the tomb recently became the focus of a scientific excavation led by Professor Leonardo Garcia San Juan from the University of Seville, revealing astonishing truths to the world. Professor San Juan explained that the tomb was not just a burial site, but also an early astronomical observatory, an ancient scientific structure used to observe the sky, track seasonal cycles, and support religious rituals. Around 3000 BCE, the people who lived here carefully positioned each stone with incredible precision, aligning them with the sun's movements and significant astronomical events such as the equinoxes and solstices. Inside the White Stone Tomb, researchers found ancient megaliths deliberately arranged, along with contemporary ceramic artifacts, showing that the tomb served as a long-term center for spiritual and astronomical practices. The most shocking discoveries include 45 teeth and 95 bone fragments, evidence of an ancient burial ritual where bodies were placed on stone platforms, and after decomposition, their remains were moved to a back area as part of the ritual. Around 2500 BCE, the tomb was expanded with 2 additional stone niches, possibly the resting place of a high-status man and woman. But the story doesn't end there. Archaeologists later found that the tomb had been modified again, with its entrance sealed by large stones and the remains of at least 2 children and 3 other women added. Over 3 continuous phases of use, this structure became a living record of prehistoric life, beliefs, and death, until it was completely sealed between 1950 and 1180 BCE. What amazed researchers most was the perfect architectural precision. Stone floors were aligned so that sunlight enters deep into the tomb exactly on June 21st, the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. Sunlight shines into a chamber deep inside the tomb, like a sacred ritual to honor the sun god. A triangular stone firmly embedded in the floor points directly to the sunrise, a clear indicator of the ancients' deep understanding of astronomy. The largest megalith was placed with perfect accuracy, as if the entire tomb were a giant stone clock where time, light, and spirituality are united. The Lover's Rock, once a symbol of tragic love and legend, now also represents ancient wisdom, reminding us that thousands of years ago, humans already looked to the sky to understand themselves. Imagine this: our ancestors, using stone, light, and belief, built one of the earliest astronomical structures in human history. leaving us a mystery still waiting to be unraveled today. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. A humble Nile tomb reveals sacred rituals and the pharaoh's religious secrets of ancient Egypt. If you've always believed that the pharaoh's religion was something imposed from palaces, rooted in the absolute power of Egypt's kings, the story below may make you rethink that assumption. Deep beneath the hot, dry sands of the Nile Valley, at an ancient cemetery called Adaima, scientists have traced a completely different truth. One showing that Egyptian divine authority did not fall from the sky, but gradually grew from the everyday burial rituals of ancient rural communities. Specifically, a study published in the Journal of Archaeological Method and Theory surveyed over 500 tombs at the Adaima Cemetery. The results surprised archaeologists. The origin of pharaoh religion did not arise from the decree of kings or priests, but rather emerged from the simple burial practices of ordinary people. This challenges the long-held belief that pharaohs, with their image as living gods, mediators between humans and the divine, were always the central figures of Egyptian religious life. Adaima is not a pyramid-era necropolis. The site was used between 3300 and 2700 BCE, long before pharaohs consolidated power and built the grand monuments along the Nile. Here, in a seemingly ordinary place, local funerary customs quietly formed the core elements of the later state religion. Under the guidance of archaeologist Ameline Alcouf from the University of Toulouse, the research team discovered that many tombs at Adaima were arranged with remarkable precision according to astronomical phenomena. This was no coincidence. It reflects the ancient Egyptians' deep understanding of the sky. Among the tombs, the most striking is Tomb S166, a burial that sends shivers down the spine of anyone who hears its story. Inside, the remains of a young woman were found, her left arm ritually severed and carefully placed on her chest. The tomb itself is oriented to the sunset on the winter solstice, while the coffin aligns with Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, signaling the annual flooding of the Nile. Imagine, for a community reliant on the river, how profoundly sacred it was to link death with the movements of the cosmos. Tomb S166 is not alone. Two other tombs reinforce this astronomical pattern. Tomb S837 holds a woman buried with fine jewelry and a broken ceramic vessel, hinting at symbolic rituals. Tomb S874 is aligned to the summer solstice, containing the remains of a woman with a staff and a wig made of fibers, showing shifts in astronomical focus over time. The research team calls these exceptional burials cultural hotspots. From these focal points, surrounding tombs gradually arose, forming early sacred sites, akin to the first temples in the communal consciousness. From places like these, collective beliefs were nurtured, developed, and eventually institutionalized under the pharaohs. To date, over 900 tombs have been discovered at the 30-hectare Adaima Cemetery, making it one of the earliest and most thoroughly studied burial sites of ancient Egypt. From these silent graves, one fact becomes clear. Egyptian religion did not start at the throne. It began from the earth, from the sky, and from the faith of ordinary people living along the Nile in antiquity. This is a perspective strikingly different from the traditional view of ancient Egypt, isn't it? 220 pounds of gold discovered in a shallow well in China. What seemed like an ordinary morning in a small village on the outskirts of Xi'an, China, where life usually flows at a slow, familiar rhythm, suddenly became the center of global archaeological attention. Local villagers, digging a shallow well to find a new water source for their community, had no idea they were about to witness one of the most spectacular archaeological discoveries of the century. Beneath the seemingly lifeless soil, a massive treasure unexpectedly emerged. Over about 220 pounds of pure gold, carefully buried for thousands of years. The news spread rapidly, leaving the small village in shock and soon attracting archaeologists and experts from across the world. The site itself was far from obscure. It had once been the center of multiple ancient cultures, a crossroads of history, trade, and commerce in early China. This made the discovery far more than just finding gold. It opened a window into the deep mysteries of a prosperous ancient economy dating back more than 1,800 years. When the excavation was conducted systematically, what researchers found left them astonished. The gold was cast into cake-shaped ingots, a design that was far from random. Each ingot weighed between 8 and 9 ounces. The remarkable uniformity of these gold pieces indicates that Han Dynasty gold casting techniques had reached a sophisticated level, reflecting the precision and meticulous financial management of the time. These gold ingots were not merely treasures, they were currency, tangible evidence of the Han Dynasty's thriving commercial system, one of the most powerful and influential dynasties in Chinese history. Experts note that gold in the Han period was not only stored as wealth, but also used in daily transactions, functioning much like paper money or credit cards today. Casting gold into small ingots made it easier to transport and exchange, demonstrating that the Han economy was not solely agricultural, as often assumed, but closely linked to trade, commerce, and large-scale financial control. What makes the story even more intriguing is why such a large amount of gold was buried in a shallow well in the middle of a village. Archaeologists suspect that during the late Han Dynasty, when society was unstable and political power was shifting, particularly during the fall of the Han and the rise of the Three Kingdoms of Wang Mang's regime, people feared their assets might be seized or looted. To protect their wealth, they chose to bury the gold. Over the centuries, the gold cakes became covered in dust, and the story was forgotten, until today. Currently, archaeologists continue to study the site, tracing the exact origins of the treasure and the identities of those who once owned it. Although many details remain uncertain, this discovery sheds new light on an important chapter of ancient China's commercial and economic history. At the same time, it serves as a reminder that sometimes the greatest mysteries lie right beneath our feet. All it takes is a bit of luck and the right stroke of a shovel to change the course of history. A 30-year-old naturally mummified cat. Many of you may already know that thousands of years ago, the ancient Egyptians were renowned as masters of mummification. According to their experience, for a body to avoid decomposition, a strict combination of factors had to be met: the right chemicals, ideal air humidity, and a tightly controlled environment. Missing even one of these conditions, and the body would quickly decay over time. Because of this, many people assume that a fully dried body without any preservation treatment is nearly impossible. Yet, such an extraordinary phenomenon has appeared in everyday life, in Wigan, Lancashire, England. In what seemed like an ordinary storage shed, a dried cat corpse is believed to have lain undisturbed for about 30 years, showing no signs of decomposition and without any use of embalming chemicals. The unusual discovery was made by Adam White. While cleaning the old shed with his son, he spotted a dry, rigid object with a strange shape. At first, Adam assumed it was an old wooden ornament left behind by the previous homeowner. Considering the shed was dusty and largely ignored, this seemed a reasonable explanation. However, upon closer inspection, Adam realized something was amiss. When he saw the small exposed teeth and the characteristic rib cage, he immediately recognized that this was not a decoration. It was the remains of a real cat. Remarkably, the cat's entire body had dried and curled up, but retained nearly its original shape. Surprised by the discovery, Adam quickly photographed the cat and posted the images online, hoping to find the cat's former owner. What he did not expect, however, was that the photos would attract the attention of mummification experts. After reviewing the images, experts were astonished. The cat showed no signs of decay, no foul odor, and no rotting tissue, as would be expected in a normal corpse. According to their assessment, the mummification occurred entirely naturally. The shed had likely created an ideal environment: dry, well-ventilated, extremely low humidity, and few bacteria. These factors caused the cat's body to lose water rapidly, preventing decomposition and turning it into a naturally mummified specimen. Based on its current state, experts estimate that the cat had remained in the shed for roughly 30 years without being discovered. Incredible, isn't it? This discovery has led many to wonder, how many similar mysteries might exist around us, still waiting to be uncovered? Perhaps nature quietly operates under rules far beyond ordinary human understanding. And if even a small cat can become naturally mummified in such a strange way, then the world undoubtedly still holds countless phenomena that leave us amazed. 3 ancient Egyptian tombs reveal the hidden world of the elite in the New Kingdom. Can you imagine this? When the dust of time was swept aside at the ancient Dra Abu el Naga cemetery near Luxor, Egypt, archaeologists uncovered a mysterious ancient world through 3 tombs over 3,000 years old. belonging to important figures in Egyptian society during the New Kingdom. These were not the tombs of powerful pharaohs. Yet it was thanks to these elites, who played essential roles in religious and economic life, that the machinery of ancient Egyptian society ran smoothly. The three men buried here each held key positions in temples and grain storage facilities, critical components for the prosperity of the country along the legendary Nile River. Among the three tombs, the most prominent belonged to Amun-Em-Epet, a man who served in temples or estates dedicated to Amun, the supreme god associated with the ancient city of Thebes. He lived during the 19th dynasty, roughly 1295 to 1186 BCE, a peak period in ancient Egyptian history when power stretched from Syria to Sudan. The murals inside Amun-Em-Epet's tomb vividly depict scenes of banquets, funerary goods, and funerals. These images not only showcase wealth, but also highlight the significance of funerary rituals in ancient Egyptian religious belief. The other two tombs are even older, dating back to the early 18th dynasty, 1550 to 1295 BCE, reflecting different aspects of the elite class. One belonged to Baki, who oversaw grain silos, a strategic position in Egypt's agricultural economy, where grain served not only as a staple food, but also as a key medium of exchange. The final tomb belonged to a man named S, who held multiple roles related to record-keeping and oversight in the Temple of Amun. His burial illustrates the deep connection between religion and administrative power in New Kingdom society. A particularly notable feature, highlighted by archaeologists and experts, is that all three tombs contain a small inner courtyard, a common element in New Kingdom tomb architecture, especially for non-royal tombs in the Theban necropolis. Catherine Slinger, an Egyptology lecturer at the University of Manchester, explains that these courtyards were more than empty space. They held important ritual significance, often used for funerary ceremonies or commemorative festivals. In some cases, these courtyards may have been shared among neighboring tombs, forming a communal area for the spiritual activities of the living community. The discoveries at Dra Abu el Naga do more than illuminate the lives and roles of the elite in ancient Egyptian society. They provide a vivid window into the religious, economic, and social world over 3,000 years ago. These were people without royal titles, yet they played crucial roles and were carefully interred along the Nile. This demonstrates that in the heart of legendary Egyptian civilization, power and respect were not reserved solely for the pharaoh. They were also afforded to those who quietly kept the nation functioning. Through every painted wall and buried artifact, these secrets are gradually being uncovered, telling the vibrant story of a dazzling era in human history. The 1,800-year-old tomb of the warrior who died twice. In the peaceful fields of the English countryside where a Roman villa once stood, archaeologists unexpectedly uncovered a mysterious tomb that continues to baffle researchers today. This tomb is not only the resting place of a man who lived nearly 2 millennia ago, but it also raises unanswered questions about ancient beliefs, funerary rituals, and even the fears surrounding the return of the dead. The man buried here was a young adult, approximately 21 to 25 years old, laid carefully in a stone-built tomb, a rarity for ordinary people in Roman society at the time. Beside him were a sword and a silver brooch, items that clearly indicate he was a warrior or held a position in the military. The cloak he wore in death further confirms that he was a respected member of his community. However, his face-down burial posture quickly turned initial assumptions on their head. Unlike 3 other nearby tombs from the same period, where the deceased were traditionally laid on their backs following Roman customs, this man's body was buried in an unusual and deliberate position. Large iron nails found near his neck, back, and feet suggest he may have been tightly bound and possibly executed before death. Examination of his bones and teeth also revealed that he had suffered a serious ear infection, which may have contributed to his death or at least left him weakened and vulnerable to marginalization within his society. Dr. Evan Chapman, lead archaeologist from Amgueddfa Cymru, National Museum Wales, explained that the way he was buried led the team to believe he experienced 2 deaths, one physical and one spiritual. His soul effectively sealed according to ancient beliefs. The nails and face-down position may have been a ritual meant to prevent the dead from returning, a common binding practice in ancient folk beliefs designed to protect the living from restless or vengeful spirits. Yet the team is puzzled by the paradox. Although treated as a potential spiritual threat, he was still buried with his sword and prized possessions, as if those who interred him both feared and respected him. They did not discard, cremate, or dishonor him as they might a traitor. Instead, they built him a careful and ceremonial tomb, while simultaneously sealing him beneath earth and stone to contain something beyond their control. Was this young man a rebellious hero, a cast-out warrior, or a victim of misunderstood ancient ritual? Beneath the layers of time, his story remains an unsolved mystery. Perhaps it is precisely this combination of honor and curse, the coexistence of respect and fear, that makes this tomb one of the most haunting and challenging archaeological discoveries of recent history. The special shoes of the kneeling archer in Qin Shi Huang's tomb. When people think of the famous terracotta army of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, they are usually impressed by the soldiers' imposing presence, lifelike facial expressions, and meticulously detailed weaponry. But have you ever considered that what astonished scientists after more than 2,000 years was not a weapon or armor, but a pair of shoes? Yes, it was the shoes of a kneeling archer, the only soldier among thousands whose shoe soles are clearly visible, that opened a new window into the high craftsmanship of the Qin dynasty. The terracotta army, accidentally discovered in 1974 by a group of farmers digging a well on the outskirts of Xi'an, China, has long been regarded as one of the greatest archaeological wonders of the world. Life-sized figures, equipped with real weapons and arranged in military formation, symbolize the absolute power and strategic vision of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor to unify China in 221 BCE. Yet it was not until half a century later that the shoes of one soldier became a focal point. A research team from Sichuan University not only analyzed every detail of the shoe, but also recreated an exact replica using the same techniques and materials that ancient craftsmen had employed. The results were astonishing. The shoes were not only flexible and soft, but also exceptionally stable. The soles were woven from mulberry fibers, layered, glued, stitched, and tightly pressed, demonstrating craftsmanship comparable to modern technology. Researcher Cha Na explained that holding the replica allowed her to clearly visualize each stitch piercing the fabric, creating orderly, durable seams. The toe of the shoe had the densest stitching, followed by the heel and the arch, an intelligent design based on weight distribution and the soldier's movements. Remarkably, the absorbent material in the heel helped the wearer move efficiently on wet, slippery surfaces, a critical factor on the battlefield. This was more than just a pair of shoes. It was a combat tool. The stability and flexibility they provided likely contributed significantly to the terracotta army's reputation for invincibility. The design reflects a deep strategic mindset. From weaponry and military organization to every step soldiers took, every detail was carefully calculated. To date, only about 2,000 terracotta figures have been excavated, a small fraction of the tens of thousands still buried beneath Xi'an. And if even a small detail like a pair of shoes contains such secrets, imagine how many stories are yet to be uncovered. More than just a burial site, the Terracotta Army is a living archive of ancient Chinese society, where exquisite craftsmanship matched military might. The kneeling archer's shoes, once considered a minor detail, have become a symbol of perfection in every step of a magnificent empire. Fascinating, isn't it? A 600-year-old bronze mirror reveals a hidden image of Amitabha Buddha forgotten in a museum. Among the countless artifacts quietly resting in museum storage, some objects appear so ordinary that they can easily be overlooked. Yet sometimes, a single ray of light is all it takes to awaken a secret hidden for hundreds of years. The story of an ancient bronze mirror at the Cincinnati Art Museum is exactly such a moment, where light accidentally revealed the image of Amitabha Buddha after 600 years of slumber. For decades, this mirror was simply considered an old Chinese artifact. Its last exhibition was in 2017. During her research, Dr. Sung asked her team to shine direct light onto the center of the mirror. When the light reflected off the mirror, it revealed an image of Amitabha Buddha surrounded by rays of light. This miraculous Buddha-shaped mirror, also known as a transparent mirror, was first crafted during the Han Dynasty, 202 BCE, 220 CE in China. Due to the difficulty of production, These mirrors are extremely rare. The Shanghai Museum previously housed several mirrors made during the Han Dynasty, but experts have only recorded 2 miraculous Buddha-shaped mirrors. Both of these artifacts originate from Japan. One is currently on display at the Tokyo National Museum, while the other is at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. Experts explain that these magical mirrors are so rare due to the complexity of their manufacturing process. A UNESCO article once described these mirrors as being made from bronze, with designs carved on the back. The reflective surface is convex and polished. Finally, the artisans applied a mercury-based liquid to highlight the images. When the mirror is held at the correct angle to light, the copper reflects the light, revealing secret images such as Amitabha Buddha, as seen in the discovery at the Cincinnati Art Museum, a truly fascinating find. Dear friends, we've just explored some of the strangest and most chilling archaeological discoveries that have shaken the world. These mysteries not only challenge what we know about history, but also make us reflect on what remains undiscovered. Could it be that ancient civilizations still hold countless secrets, or have we only just scratched the surface of a greater mystery? Be sure to stay tuned to our channel so you won't miss the next exciting discoveries. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join us on new adventures. For now, goodbye and see you next time.